Ben Nelson did not come cheap.
I have fought hard to prevent tax dollars from being used to subsidize abortions. I would have not voted for this bill and would not vote for this bill without those provisions.
Ben Nelson got his partial ban on abortion coverage, plus a $45 million pop for Nebraska and expanded Medicaid. Louisiana's Mary Landrieu got an extra $300 million. Joe Lieberman, that's him in the upper right, plowed over the public option, while Bernie Sanders in the lower left got $10 billion in community health care clinics. Mike Huckabee, Dana Perino, and Juan Williams. Did Democrats sell their soul to get the 60 votes, Governor, and does it matter?
Well, I think they did sell out in a lot of ways. What they're trying to do is get something in a hurry before these people get home and their constituents, their bosses, start talking to them. They know that if they go home for Christmas and start listening to the people they're supposed to be listening to, they're going to get an earful because the American people overwhelmingly want them to slow down, take their time, and get it right, not get it quick. But this is a Congress that is on a kamikaze run. I call them the kamikaze Congress because they are determined to pass something for political reasons, not because it is in the best interest of the United States in either health care or fiscal policy.
Well, I don't think that would be particularly unique, but Juan Williams, what I wonder about is what happens to the 56 other senators who didn't get any particular perk for their votes? Any chance that they'll cut and run?
No, at this point, it's pretty much a done deal, Geraldo. What you get is President Obama really taking them to the woodshed here and saying, you know what, we have to stay in line. You know, this whole week he's been saying this is our opportunity to make history, and he's got them pretty much under control at this point on the idea that, look, here's what we can get at this point. Here's what we can do to make history, and that is to rein in some of the insurance companies, to insist that 80% of the money that the insurance companies collect on premiums is spent on medical care, to say that 94% of Americans who are under 65 are not going to have insurance coverage. To him, these are big things. I know Howard Dean would disagree if he's listening.
Dana Perino, I know you may, I don't want to put words in your mouth, disagree with what the president and what the Senate and the House in its own way are proposing here, but on a purely political basis, are you impressed that they managed to do what many thought was impossible and, corral these cats, 60 of them, into apparently getting ready to vote for some kind of reform?
No, I think it's absolutely astounding that it took them this long to actually get to this point. I mean, they have a 20-seat lead in the Senate. They have even more than that in the House. And so if you would have told me last February that it would have taken them until Christmas Eve to try to get this bill done, I would have told you were crazy. One thing you have to look at, you have Nevada, Louisiana, and Nebraska all getting much better treatment than the rest of the 47 states. You have also this flimsy CBO document that basically said, we're really not sure what's in this bill, but we have to score it anyway, so here you go. And I think that, at the end of the day, they're going to pay more of a political price in next November than they thought they were.
You're still going to have 20-something million Americans, in spite of this bill, who don't have health care coverage. If the whole idea is universal health care coverage, they've failed miserably, but they've raised taxes and offended about 60% of the American people to get there.
It does break President Obama's pledge not to raise taxes on the middle class. It breaks it spectacularly, and I think that people are going to have to remember that one as well.
Juan, do you agree? I mean, it seems to me that there's this 0.9% pop on people who make more than 200 grand. I don't know how middle class is defined, but usually it's not people who make almost $250,000 a year, is it?
It's something that he has decided he's going to take the political weight for saying, listen, for those people, we need to do this in order to have health care reform in this country. Remember, the United States is just about the only Western democracy that does not have universal health care coverage for its citizens. And the thing here is we talk about the political cost going forward in 2010. I don't think there's any question Republicans are going to gain seats in the House. They're going to gain some seats, maybe 2 or 3 in the Senate. But let's separate out the issues for a second. Is this really going to be about health care? Is this going to be the dominant issue? Are people going to be able to say this is socialism? The government is intrusive and taking over? I think that, to the contrary, people are going to start and say, wait a second, the insurance companies are now being told they can't disallow people who have pre-existing conditions. health insurance is going to be portable. That's better for most Americans. That's better for people who are being bankrupted. It's better for small business. And I think this is going to dawn on a lot of people slowly. Clearly, everybody has an argument about some specific item, amendment in the bill, abortion. The question about the deficit is exactly as Dana described it. But I think most Americans are going to say, you know what, the insurance companies were out of control. We needed health insurance reform in this country.
All right, that's one point of view. Obviously, the hubbub will continue at least through Christmas Eve when the vote is scheduled to come down.